Treyarch has nerfed many weapon XP strategies here in Modern Warfare 3 Zombies. Luckily, there is one method that hasn't been nerfed yet, so let's see just how good it really is. For today's weapon XP test, we are going to be using the Lockwood 680. I've seen a lot of people sing its praise, but unfortunately I might have hit this trend too late because I saw a comment somewhere saying they actually nerfed it. And just like that, in 3 kills, we already have this leveled up. I should mention it is double XP, but that is actually really good because that's how I've done all of my other weapon XP tests. But we should make our way over to this Spore Control contract, and I suppose we should start using these Aether tools and Pack-a-Punch and sodas going on here. There's also been a lot of talk about double weapon XP and how it's capped in zombies, which if you don't know already is essentially unfortunately true. Without double weapon XP, you're only gonna earn about 6 or 7 levels and maybe 8 if you do enough stuff. And with double XP, there is a soft cap at around 10 or 11, and if you do really well, then it's probably 12. And the obvious question is, well, Donuts, if there's a cap to weapon XP in zombies, why even bother doing weapon XP testing and guides and all that stuff? Well, if you know there is a weapon level cap and you know, say it's like 10 or something, then you're gonna need to know the fastest way to get those 10 levels and then you can exfil. So there's still some point in getting the best strategies and whatnot. And if you don't know this strategy already, this is the Spore Control strategy. You'll accept a Spore Control contract and then you'll come over here and you'll get all of these inhibitors. And the way this works is that every time you throw one of these inhibitors on one of these pods, on one of these spores, it's going to spawn in a horde of zombies. A continuous horde of zombies, I believe. And we are doing one in level 2, so that means it's also going to spawn in a good amount of boss zombies as well. From here, you can kind of just kill everything. There's level 3 already. And I gotta say, I don't know if they buffed this shotgun or what, but I've heard a lot of terrible things about the shotgun, but it's actually doing pretty well. Now, it is legendary rarity with Pack-a-Punch 2, so who knows? And I'm not gonna lie, this is a lot more consistent of a zombie spawn than I thought we were gonna get. Every time I try this strategy, I feel like I don't get enough zombies, but maybe because this is a pump action shotgun. Is there a Casimir here that I missed? Oh, there was, I picked it up, look at that. But yeah, this really isn't that bad of a rate of zombie spawns. This is pretty good. Now, it's not huge hordes of zombies as you can see, but it's a pretty good spawn rate. Ooh, insta-kill's gonna be fun with the shotgun, look at that, very good. Now, I've also noticed this, and this is very concerning, and maybe you guys can help me out here. Also, I think we just hit level 4. You saw me put on the inhibitors right here, but now they've been taken off mysteriously. I don't know why that is, and I don't know if that slows down the actual contracts here. You see, this guy's still going pretty hard. There's level 5. I wonder if the inhibitors disappearing is like a proximity thing, because we've been staying fairly close to this guy, and it hasn't disappeared yet. We're still getting really good spawn rates, though. Like, this is not like I am not waiting on zombies at all. I'm waiting for this reload. But for the sake of the test, I'm going to throw another one on here, and I believe there's another one over here, so we can kind of just stay in this proximity and see how many more zombies we get. Level 6. It feels like we're making good time, but like I usually say, it's the beginning levels, so the beginning levels of weapon XP always feel pretty good. Also worth mentioning, the boss zombies seem to have stopped spawning. It was only that one mangler or two at the very beginning when we started this contract. Everything else has been just normal zombies. Level 7. I really do think it's been quite a while now. I do believe there's a proximity effect about these things because the 3 that we've put on has stayed on so long as we've been close to it. I have no idea why those first 2 that we put on disappeared. It's got to be through proximity. So if you're going to do this, make sure you stand close to like 3 or 4 of these guys. Because the bad thing is if you use all of your inhibitors, if you use all of those pieces of equipment and then they all just disappear, then you'll be left with no piece of equipment to finish the contract with. Level 8, level 8. Now 15 minutes for 8 levels. That's pretty darn good weapon XP, especially considering we were just talking about the level being capped. We'll see, it's 31 now. We'll see just how long it takes us to get all the way to level 9 now. Oh yeah, that's almost definitive proof that this is a proximity thing when it comes to these inhibitors. So I think if you are going to do this strategy, it's best to only do 1 or 2 of these spores at a time. Pick 2 that are really close by and just make sure you're training close to those 2. Gotta admit, this strategy is not as engaging as the other strategies we've tested here on the channel. The Outlast strategy had way more bosses in it, and the classic exfil strategy strategy had way more zombies to it. Also worth mentioning, you don't need to do this in the second threat level. I decided to do it in the second threat level because it was the closest spore control contract to my spawn. This should get you similar spawn rates in tier 1, it's just going to be a little bit easier, so definitely go for that. Once again, I say this every single XP video, but it does seem like we are really, like, it's been 6 minutes since we got that weapon level 8 pop-up, and there definitely seems to be such a brick wall in terms of this weapon XP. You saw we got 8 levels in the first 15 minutes of this match, and we haven't gotten anything in the past 6 minutes. And like, I understand you don't want people abusing stuff like this and getting crazy amounts of weapon XP every single game, but to be honest, it really didn't take that much XP to get that level 8. It just seems rather silly to me to have such a hard cap on weapon XP. Like, I understand it, I really do. You don't want people doing this the whole game, and kind of like what we saw with the exfil strategy where that was the only thing people were doing. I understand that. You want people to play the game normally and experience it that way. It makes sense. You don't want zombies to turn into like Shipment where everyone's just in here for the grind instead of actually playing the game. It's a noble cause. I know a lot of people think like, oh my goodness, they just don't want us having fun, but really there's some psychological aspect to it. And no, it's not just they need people to play the game more to buy more bundles. It's a thing where XP is like a reward. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, got cornered there. Woohoo! XP is a reward for the player, and if you reward them too much for doing too little, while that may be a fun little dopamine burst for the player, it can kind of ruin the intended gameplay experience. And Shipment is really the best example of that. Even I have a hard time playing normal 6v6 because of, wow, look at that, nearly 9 minutes and we finally got level 9. But as I was saying, even I kind of have trouble doing regular 6v6 after I've played Shipment for a good long while. Because of how rewarding Shipment is, it makes playing a regular 6v6 mode kind of boring and unrewarding. But then you have to take into consideration, hey, don't we just buff the normal gameplay and have the normal gameplay give that really fun weapon XP and reward center, all that stuff, instead of nerfing the things that are actually fun, quote unquote? Because even now, making this video, it feels kind of redundant to sit here and grind to weapon level 10 when I know the best strategy, the best thing that we can do to be the most efficient with our game time is to exfil out of here and then start a new game with the same spore control contract. In fact, that's exactly what I'm gonna suggest to you beautiful people do. As soon as during this double weapon XP event you reach 8 levels or like 6 levels if there's not double XP, find a way to get exfilled and then restart your game, which is a shame because that was my least favorite part about Cold War and Vanguard's weapon XP grind. The most efficient strategy back then was to grind 10 levels of the round-based modes and then exfil, instead of actually playing the game. Now on the bright side, this mode, first of all, it's a little bit more fun and XP is a little bit more abundant than it was in round-based of previous years. So if you do just play the game, you're really not missing out on any sort of overpowered weapon XP grind. And also, most of these weapons here in Modern Warfare 3 are only 20 to 30 weapon XP levels. We are far away from the 55 and 70 weapon XP levels of Cold War and Vanguard. Yeah, this shotgun's pretty fun, I'm not gonna lie, this is a pretty fun shotgun. And this is base no attachments either, pure vanilla shotgun here. I'm telling you, these super sprinters, man, they're insane in tier 2. Oh, there's level 10, another 8 minutes later. Yeah, I think we're gonna need to change the way we look about weapon XP here in Zombies. I think those first 8 levels are really gonna be the difference maker here. That's the way we're gonna need to measure things going forward. How fast can you get 8 weapon XP levels in Zombies with double weapon XP? For this strategy for spore control, we did it within 15 minutes. Now, if you guys have any ideas about some weapon XP grinding strategies, please let me know in the comment section below. To be honest, I don't know if we're gonna have time to get another weapon XP level here. So I think it's time we actually complete this contract. And here we go. That's the end of that. That was like a half an hour, 40-minute long spore control contract. contract. Longest I've ever taken to do that. And we got a crystal and a self-revive. Oh yeah. Now, unfortunately, as we mentioned earlier in the video, most other weapon XP strategies have been nerfed. The Outlast contracts, the exfil things, which means that this has been kind of the way of getting weapon XP, which means if we take a look on our tap map here, there's not a whole lot of spore control contracts spawned in. We've got one right there. Ooh, another one right there, and another one right there. Okay, so there's 3 more left on the map, which is actually not too bad. Oh, I forgot. There's definitely one here in tier 3. So if you want a weapon XP grind in tier 3, go right ahead. I bet you'll get tons of zombies over there. You get tons of zombies over there in tier 3. However, between the Outlast contract that we did last weapon XP testing video and this, the Spore Control contract, the Spore Control contract definitely felt the most casual. Like, there was not a lot of boss zombies, and if you do it in tier 1, it's going to be a whole lot easier to kill the zombies. That being said, we might have to revisit these exfils again because they recently buffed them. So who knows, maybe these could be a great source of weapon XP again. I mean, this is definitely a larger horde of zombies than we got at that spore control we were just doing. Holy moly. We killed 1,545 zombies that game. That might be a record for me. It is unfortunate we only got 10, and I probably would have gotten 11 or 12 levels during that game. But the meta for weapon XP here in Zombies seems to be getting those first couple levels, exfilling, and then starting a new game. But as you're leveling up your weapon and you're going after some of your most sought after attachments, did you know there is a trick to unlock some of these attachments early? If you want to find out how, be sure to check out this video and stay beautiful.